Hello 2014 and hello to you. Now, although 2013 is gone, we can't forget some critical moments that brought extreme instability to some already unstable countries in Africa. Here's a look at African countries that saw insurmountable political unrest in 2013. Will 2014 be this year that these countries find stability? All right, so you've heard about the humanitarian crisis, right, taking place in the embattled Central African Republic. Shame, shame. On March 18th, Michael Jotodia led the Seleka rebel group to successfully ousting former President Francois Bozize. The rebels took control of the capital city of Bangui, and then days later, during extreme violence between Seleka rebels and government supporters, Jotodia declared himself interim president. Now, as I speak, the situation is beyond grave, with rights groups forecasting genocide in the region. And now, sectarian violence has added to the problem, with Christian vigilantes, aka anti-Balaka, rising up against the mostly Muslim Seleka rebels. Now, this situation is just horrible for several reasons. An unknown number of people have been killed. More than 800,000 have been internally displaced, with most locals hiding out in the bush with no access to water and other necessities. Now, some of the neighboring not so stable countries, such as South Sudan and Chad, could be heavily affected. And the Central African Republic is known to be a hiding spot for Ugandan warlord Joseph Kony. Right now, aid to the country is extremely limited because it's just too dangerous. And there is no end really in sight. So, Michael Jotodia, President, are you just sitting there? What do you plan to do to bring your people out of this horrendous situation now that we are fully in 2014? Check out this clip produced by Vice News exploring the situation in Central African Republic.
Sir?
Yeah, my name is Jean-Claude.
Have you ever seen your country so divided?
I can see Muslims and Christians, they are fighting between them, and it's the fucking shit. I never see this thing happen in my country. The one message I have to give to humanity, we need peace. Please help my country to get peace quickly. Just right quickly. I need peace. My kid didn't go to school. This is a fucking big problem. And now I'm here with 2 or 3 kids at the airport. No medicine, nothing, no good water. This is big fucking shit, man. So we need peace right now. Help me, help my country. We need peace. It's not a problem for military or whatever, but I need my government do his best to bring peace. We need.
The guy is mad. I mean, I would be too. Imagine. All right, let's move on. So, Egypt has been facing extreme instability and unrest for nearly 3 years. Hosni Mubarak resigned in 2011 because of extreme pressure. Then, President Mohamed Morsi was elected in Egypt's first ever democratic election, but served only 1 year. And now, this year, or last year, on July 3rd, 2013, days after massive anti-Morsi and pro-Morsi protests, Egyptian Army Chief General Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, frustrated with Morsi's leadership, led the operation to remove him from power. He also suspended the Egyptian constitution and declared Ali Mansour interim president. However, it's clear that General Abdel al-Sisi is the most powerful man in the country today. Right now, tensions are high between the current military-ruled government under al-Sisi, Ali Mansour, and the Muslim Brotherhood, who are supporters of Morsi. With protests and violence sweeping the country, the big question for 2014 is, what next for Egypt? Will a soon newly implemented constitution and democratic elections bring stability to the country? Check out this clip. that's sad. I hope Egypt finds their way. All right, moving on. It's been 2 years since the ousting and killing of controversial Libyan President Muammar Gaddafi, and you know the northern African country is still struggling to make a democratic transition from Gaddafi's rule and the 2011 Arab Spring. And to add to instability, on October 10, 2013, current Libyan head of state Ali Zaidan was kidnapped by Libyan militiamen who planned to take control of the government. The attempted coup was foiled after pro-government militia intervened. Today, Zaidan still holds power, but the current government has very little control over the violent situation in Libya. Armed militiamen who grew out of the 2011 Libyan civil war and who have yet to put down their guns still have the upper hand in the country. Today, everyday Libyans are protesting the presence of the militia, and some are demanding Prime Minister Zaidan to step down. So, after years of violence and political chaos, what next? Does 2014 hold the answer of peace for Libya? Check out this clip.
Security in Libya has been the main issue since Muammar Gaddafi was toppled. The government hasn't been able to control the militia who helped topple Gaddafi. Hundreds of militia groups operate in the country, from Zintan, where fighters have been holding Gaddafi's son Saif al-Islam, to Benghazi, where they're being blamed for the attack on the US consulate last year. Political assassinations have become frighteningly common in Benghazi. So have attacks on international aid agencies like the Red Cross. In recent weeks, rival militias have taken advantage of the weak security in Tripoli too. And violence has been ongoing since the end of Ramadan. The army has deployed more troops to assure citizens. Soldiers are stationed in checkpoints across the city.
What a situation, right? Okay, so moving on. Now, just 2 days away from the new year, people are festive, preparing how they would bring it in. Then, boom, a freaking coup in the already violent scarred Democratic Republic of the Congo. On December 30th, 2013, armed assailants shot up Kinshasa's Njili International Airport, forcing flights to make U-turns in the air. Assailants attacked the Ministry of Defense as well as seized the local Kinshasa TV station where reporters were allegedly taken as hostages. According to reports, evangelical Christian pastor Paul Joseph Mukungabila, also known as Prophet of the Eternal, is being credited as the force behind these attacks. Now, Pastor Mukungabila is disassociating himself with this current flare of violence, claiming that his followers were unarmed. However, it will be difficult for him to detach himself from this alleged coup, as some of the attackers forced reporters to make public announcements stating that Pastor Mukungabila has come to free Congolese from the slavery of the Rwandan, referring to the rule of current President Joseph Kabila, who has ties to Rwanda. Now, the Kabila government has gained control of the situation and has requested that locals resume normal activity, but with the Congo already struggling to rid decades of violence and tension, and now this recent close call coup, will this situation just be swept under the rug, or is this Paul Joseph Mukungabila matter bigger than we think? Check it out, this clip.
Security's been stepped up in the Congolese capital Kinshasa after troops repulsed attacks on the airport, a military barracks and state TV headquarters. Clashes were also reported in the second city of Lubumbashi. Those involved are said to be supporters of ex-presidential candidate Paul Joseph Mukungabila. But authorities have played down talk of an attempted coup d'etat. There were so few of them and they were so poorly armed that we don't have the impression that the assailants had any other objective than to sow panic and terror on the eve of the New Year festivities, which have such a great importance in our culture. The Democratic Republic of Congo is struggling to emerge from decades of violence and instability. A charity working in the country told Euronews of the shock at the latest unrest. Very early in the morning, the situation was fairly normal. People were preparing to go about their business as usual, so it must have surprised everyone. The situation is rather tense, so the population continues to be watchful. In certain districts, it seems that people are starting to go out while remaining vigilant.
So finally on to the last country that saw some great political instability in 2013. It's South Sudan. Trouble looms for this very rich, very young, oil-rich country. On December 14, 2013, gunfire and fighting prompted President Salva Kiir to publicly announce that an attempted coup has been foiled by his government and that everything was under control. But is everything under control? Reports claim that more than 1,000 people have been killed in what is better known as a political crisis or a power struggle between President Kiir, who is of the Dinka tribe, and his former vice president, Riek Machar, who is of the Nuer tribe. It is important to note their tribes because reports are also confirming the flaring again of ethnic violence, with rebels in support of Machar taking control of several key South Sudan cities. And this is just not good. As we all know, South Sudan has a history of sectarian violence. Now, the current fighting has caused more than 100,000 locals to flee their homes, and in something around 60,000 people are seeking refuge at UN compounds throughout the country. Now, Machar denies he had anything to do with a coup, but he has been in hiding since the violence broke out. A ceasefire is in the talks between Kiir and Machar, but nothing is official as of yet. So, which way will this young country go in 2014? Check out this clip.
Good afternoon to all of you.
As if to reiterate his position as Commander-in-Chief, South Sudanese President Salva Kiir appeared for his national address Monday, donned in military attire, just hours after what was overnight fighting in his capital, Juba, that spilled over to the better part of Monday.
During the closing of the SPLM National Liberation Council meeting, an unidentified person near Nyakuran Cultural Center released gunshots in the air and escaped.
Soldiers loyal to former Vice President Riek Machar are said to have attempted to overthrow the government of South Sudan, what prompted sporadic fighting between factions of the military. President Salva Kiir stating in his televised address to the nation that the attempted coup led by his former deputy has been quashed and his government will go after those responsible.
I would like to inform you all, my dear citizens, that your government is in full control of the security situation in Juba. The attackers fled, and your armed forces are pursuing them. I promise you today that justice will prevail.
Heavily armed soldiers are said to be patrolling the streets of Juba as gunfire was coming from the city's main army barracks. But though the fighting is largely focused around Juba's military barracks, most people have either opted or have been advised to stay indoors as the onslaught continues, preempting.
It is just so sad knowing what all this country has been through. All right, so listen to me. South Sudan, Central African Republic, Congo, Libya, Egypt, listen, as we leave behind 2013, let's see about leaving behind all of these political differences, greed for a country's resources, and simple stupidity. Let's look towards how this year we can unite the Africans to promote the best in Africa, right? Anyway, you know the drill. I want to know what issue in your part of the world would you like to be changed in 2014? Share it with me. Hit me up on email at tracytv@gmail.com. I'm on Twitter at tracytv. I'm also on Facebook. Just type in tracytv and note the spelling. All right, so stay tuned. There's much more coming up.